G'day. G'day and welcome to this International Student Life. We tell stories and our story is international student education, and we've got a live presentation for you today. The second one because we've got a lot of information to get through. There's a lot of people. We've got a big global audience, a lot of people looking for information from Australia and overseas, not just Melbourne, but our audience is global. In the last month, there's been over 3,000 of you looking for information about international student education in Melbourne, Australia, and through about 300 of you came back in the same month to have a look, but only 2% of you are signed up as subscribers, so you better do something about that. Make sure you subscribe to this platform. We've got a lot of great information about international student education in Australia, and as it happens, Orientation Week, we're answering a subscriber question from a few days ago. Why is it important to attend Orientation Week as an international student? Why do you need to attend? So we've been researching a lot of information put out by all 10 universities based in Melbourne, Australia, and we want to synthesize that and curate it, and we want to put it into a sharp, succinct, as sharp as possible for you, because we know what it's like with all the websites and the apps and this and that, the other, and text messages, enrollment information. Let us do all the hard work for you, whether you're an international student, a future student, a prospective student, whether you're still at high school overseas, or maybe you've come from overseas and you're in year 10 or year 11 or year 12 here in Melbourne, Australia, and you're using that as a springboard into university here. Or maybe you're a parent of one of those students and you're trying to help them decide which is the best way to go. Or maybe you're an international education recruitment agent. Maybe it's your job to talk to the parents and talk to these kids who are looking for information. And one of those very people posed a very clever question to us a few days ago. Is it important to attend Orientation Week as an international student in Melbourne, Australia? So that's what brought us here today. We've got quite a few items of content to get through. So this is the third episode that we're dedicating to this topic. We're going to take a short break, so don't go away. We'll be right back. G'day, welcome back to this International Student Life. We tell stories and our story is why. It's all about Orientation Week. Why is it important to attend orientation week in Melbourne, Australia, if you're an international student. So we're going to keep it pretty simple. We're just going to have some random shots going across the screen just to keep you visually engaged, but make sure you pay attention to the audio because we'll be putting up next to nothing on the screen. We might have some links in the description below after we finish this live presentation, but otherwise make sure you're tuned in and you're concentrating. But the great thing is you can rewind this episode at any time if you think you might have missed something, or of course you can replay it at your own leisure later on. You can listen to it on any one of the 1.4 billion smart TVs around the globe, and that's not including iPhones and iPads, and I don't know what you guys are using to listen to us, but we really appreciate your company and we hope this information is helpful. So we found quite a bit, and what we wanted to do was try and put it into some kind of semblance. A lot of the universities have many different ways of approaching orientation week, and there's no one size fits all, but what you'll generally find is that some universities, it's mandatory for you to go to orientation week, and some it's highly recommended. But if you're an international student, what you'll find is usually the university that you're enrolled in will want you to be at to be at orientation week. But why? Why do they want you there? Because I imagine that for somebody who's coming from overseas, from a foreign culture, foreign language, and there's such a lot for you guys to prepare for and get ready and think about. And then there's the scary part about moving away from your family and your friends and starting a new life. And it's a nerve-wracking time, and not just for you, but also your family, your parents, your brothers and sisters, because everybody wants you to succeed. There's a lot of investment goes into investing in you and making sure that you get the best experience for the education that you've decided to pay for, and it's a lot to do. And believe me, I know Wise Words Media has a lot of experience since 1979 helping migrants and immigrants from Central America and Vietnam settle into life in Melbourne since 1979, and a lot of experience in the international student education sector. But one thing we love doing is introducing Melbourne to you all, and it's a great place to live, a great place to work, and it's the perfect combination, presenting this information but also just having a bit of a brag about how great Melbourne is. So let's get into it. We want to keep it pretty short and sharp this episode. So as an international student, mostly you'll find that universities will want you to complete orientation week. It's usually a semi-formal is probably not quite the right word, but what they want to do is introduce you to the life on campus and all the factors that go into creating a routine for yourself, not just your academic program, but making sure you know where you can live and who you can call on for help at university or people you can chat to. So it's not just a matter of making you go complete yet another task. It's actually about providing you with the highest level of help possible to make sure that you can concentrate on your studies and deal with any challenges as they arise. The object is to find out as much as you can about your university and your academic program in the couple of weeks before you start. Some universities, most actually, they'll have some sort of pre-semester events going on for those that arrive early or those that want to hit the ground running before orientation week. But it's also an opportunity to meet new people and get to know your new home, which is Melbourne in our case. And if you're unable to attend orientation, don't be alarmed, but if you can't get there, make sure, we say this all the time, your international student support team is there to help you, and they're a great point of contact as a first reference, and you'll also naturally, you've probably already accepted your offer of enrolment by now, so there's probably contacts there for the recruitment and admissions people, but we'll assume that our audience today listening is an enrolled student about to start studying in Melbourne, Australia at one of our universities here in Melbourne. So the International Student Support Team, they're more than happy to help you. In fact, guess what? They're paid to help you. So make sure you keep them busy, and don't be afraid to ask. Get used to asking for help, because that's the best way to deal with your challenges when they pop up, because it's a nerve-wracking time. Now, the orientation program for pretty much every university, we've found through our research, is that usually they're already up and running by February, and seeing as we're in the middle of the month, and happy St. Valentine's Day, by the way, they've already been circulated, so you might have already even received an email of this, and there's a range of on-campus and online sessions. Usually they'll consist of things like your program information, an introduction to your teachers, your tutors, your lecturers, an overview of the university IT systems. Now, all the information in this episode, it's not comprehensive, it's not meant to apply to every single university. We're just giving you an idea of the generality of what happens for most universities. So make sure, don't take it from us, because we are just an honest broker of information, Wise Words Media. We're not paid by any university or any organisation. We don't get any grants from any governments, state governments, or any university organisations like Universities Australia or the IEAA or Study Melbourne. We are completely independent, and that's why you should have confidence in our information, because we put a lot of effort into researching this information, and we got a lot of knowledge about the international student education sector. So getting back to this suggested suggestions, orientation week also it gives you a bedrock of skills you need to get the best results from your classes, but it also gives you that confidence, doesn't it, that you're starting to get involved, starting to get on campus, and there's also various activities that orientation week will introduce you to, so you can make new friends at uni. That's really important, to have a great social circle and a social support there. Different student clubs you'll find, and we've got it on our platform here from last year. The student clubs will be set up with volunteers that they might be second or third year uni students, and they'll tell you all about their activities and possibly volunteering opportunities that you can get involved in. Because stay active, make sure that you live life to the fullest. It's not just about the academic life. You've got to live your life, so make sure that you take advantage of all these different opportunities. And the other suggestion, that different teams from the university are there to help you when you need it, and there's learning advisors who can help you through tough assignments, or you can go have a chat to career advisors that work on campus who can help you on your career journey, even in your first year. Don't be afraid to chat to these people. Now, before orientation, you can check out a lot of different things before you get going. You can check out your orientation program. You might be interested in picking up some new study skills, because there's a little bit of difference between studying at university and studying at high school level or in another country. A lot of universities like to provide checklists. They'll be coming out your ears. Getting started checklist, international student checklist. Now, another great feature at orientation weeks is tips for students from students. Find out the best orientation tips from students who have already attended their own orientation last year in 2022. They'll have some great practical real life advice on your first semester. That'll give you a great feel for your life at your university. Now, just moving on to some other information we found. Now, before classes start, after you arrived and you've settled into your accommodation, there's several things you might want to think about doing to get ready for classes at your university. And this is in addition to attending orientation, which orientation week, sometimes activities run for 2 weeks before classes start. And why not attend as many of these as possible that help you prepare. It'll be great to have some familiar faces around you, new friends to settle into your university life. There's things like student accounts. You've got to get those set up, of course. Student support. You can usually visit student support advisors through your international student support team, or even just regular domestic uni staff. They'll be on campus, they'll be a phone call away, email, of course. We all know that live chat is now a part of customer service at all universities, that you can tap in to that functionality from your iPhone or your iPad. On the train or the tram or cooking the dinner, and they're there at all times of day and night, and they can help you out with information in areas such as fees, applications, admissions, financial aid and scholarships, housing inquiries, exams, results, and a whole lot more. Now, exploring campus life, that could include campus life, things like joining a club or society, as we talked about. Universities are a fantastic place to make the most of our favourite word, which is free. There's a lot of free campus events going on all year at a lot of universities. For example, Victoria University, their Footscray Nicholson campus is associated with the Australian Rules Football Club, the professional club that plays in the national football competition, the Western Bulldogs, and they give away free tickets all the time for international students to go watch the football of a Saturday or a Friday night. And there's also things like free public lectures, even farmers market midweek, would you believe? Of course, there's sporting facilities to take advantage of. You'll have access to gyms and running tracks. You'll be able to get into group fitness classes. There'll be such classes catered especially for females. If you don't want to mix in with the guys, squash courts, swimming pools. Yes, swimming pools. I've seen them myself at Melbourne University. There's also competitions. If you like entering competitions and you've got a creative bent, there's photography competitions. I've just spotted a amazing spaghetti machine contest. I don't know which university is that at, but there's a full calendar for you to look over to help you settle in. Now, I wanted to get into the nitty-gritty. There's a little bit more to it than meets the eye, but we're going to take a short break, and don't go away. We'll be right back. G'day and welcome back to This International Student Life. We tell stories, and our story is international student education in Melbourne, Australia, and we're looking at the topic of Orientation Week. Why is it important to attend Orientation Week if you're a new international student in Melbourne? And we're just going to finish off with a little bit more info about what we've found out. And while you're listening intently to the information, we're just going to have some images from that are just going to showcase some of the content you can expect on this International Student Life. We've got a lot of great content on various topics. You can find it in individual episodes. We have curated playlists, and one such playlist, of course, is Orientation Week, not just last year, but also now this year. We've got teasers that are about settling in. We've got content lists that are all about settling into Melbourne, 7 tips for settling into Melbourne. We've got lists, we've got content about all universities, life at these universities. I'm just getting a bit distracted by what's on the screen. I don't know how to speed through this. Let me just start this again here. And it's the same one anyways. So, yeah, plenty of content there for you to learn about studying in Melbourne. Now, we're going to finish off quickly with just summarising what different, some more information about the different tasks that you ought to be thinking about while you're at your orientation week at your university. Remember, this is a pretty generalised episode that we just wanted to synthesise all the information about all 10 Melbourne universities that we'd found. Some helpful suggestions rather than a comprehensive, hard and fast, black and white list of things to do and must do. We're not really about that. We know there's a lot of different information out there, and we hope that you're not drowning in apps and websites and PDFs and all those different things. Let us do all the hard work for you, and we'll finish that off, this presentation with this information. So why attend? Why is it important to attend Orientation Week? Well, you can go about your business settling in before your classes start. Why not attend an intro to a uni session? Like it'll help you learn about transitioning into university structure, explore available opportunities and build your network. And how about help with budget for living costs while studying? One of the trickiest things to learn when you move out of home, let alone moving out of home and overseas away from friends and family, is learning how to manage your costs, plan a budget, and keep track of your expenses. I ought to go to one of those. Naturally, you'll want to know, you want to learn pretty quickly how to use public transport in Melbourne and find out about the different discounts available for international students with all the different ticket prices. There's some great train trips. If you haven't got a car, there's great ways of getting around down to the coast on either side of Melbourne. If you want to go to the beach or wineries, or you just want a day out and see what's outside of the city. Accommodation, of course, is a huge topic, which we haven't really covered in depth over the last 13 months as yet, but we've got a lot of footage and a lot of content that we want to put out this year in 2023. But for the moment, if you want to learn about university accommodation and other housing options, well, Orientation Week is the perfect time to ask about university on-campus student accommodation, or maybe you want to explore homestays, because as we know, well, as I know, we know for sure that university accommodation has sprung up hotel style all around Melbourne, around RMIT University and Victoria University, possibly some down around near Holmes Glen, and that's on top of the rental market, which at the moment is incredibly tight here in Melbourne. And we'll be doing some content shortly about the lack of rental accommodation available for international students. Orientation Week, why not just take a lazy walk through your campus with your iPhone and the digital maps that are all set up there for you to take advantage of. And also the library, Orientation Week. There's tours, of course, run by the library staff, going sometimes every 10 minutes at some universities. and of course the student clubs, which we've talked about a little bit before. Now, we're just going to go quickly through a pretty comprehensive list of different orientation topics for international students, and this particular resource we found was pretty comprehensive. We won't read the whole lot, but the topics suggested by this university, and it is a Melbourne one, but we won't name it because we don't want to give the impression that just because if you think this information is the be all end all, they're just suggestions and just things to keep in mind. There's study supports that you can find out about, and that's at all universities. If you have any challenges or problems or queries, your international student support team is the perfect destination on campus, or you can ring them up, use the online chat facilities, of course. There's also they can help you with accommodation. Orientation week is the perfect time to learn about living on campus in student residences. If you're thinking about studying at a campus in regional Victoria. Events, of course, orientation is the perfect way to find out where do you hook into university events, those free events we spoke about earlier. And these are a great opportunity for any international student to make new connections and meet people who come from other countries, not just yours, but from different cultures with different languages and backgrounds, that you can make new connections, and you have a common thing about something in common about being in a new country away from home and friends and family. And the events can, if you volunteer, build employability skills and so much more, and learn a little bit about yourself and see what you can achieve that you haven't done before. Every university is very big on equity and inclusion, and also student safety is one of the biggest topics, of course. If there's an emergency, find out how you can contact police, ambulance and fire. That's through 000 on the phone. And the university, no doubt that you're going to, will be supporting and protecting every student, not just international students, including how to report or access services and information. There's also information about emergency and securities if you're unfortunate enough that you need those resources. And unfortunately, water and swimming in the open sea has proved a big challenge for international students over the years, that we find that a lot of students do get into difficulties and trouble, and sometimes hospital, and even worse, that they go for a swim at a local beach on a day out, and it doesn't end the best way, unfortunately. So if you're interested in water safety, if you're not a strong swimmer, Australia is very well known for its strong culture around swimming and water, and it's a big risk for people who newly arrive, or even if they're just visiting. So it's important to get to know a little bit about how to remain safe around water, and also you'll need to be aware of bushfire season here. Student health. There's a lot of health resources available to international students. Hopefully, you've already got your health insurance or other OSS overseas student services with student health. You got that all sorted out. You might want to be finding out about working in Australia now that you're here or about to arrive. The university can help you find part-time jobs, or you might want someone to chat to in regards to learning about the rules and what rights you have in a workplace here in Australia, and just to make sure that you're not earning too much, because there are certain rules the Australian government's got in place for international students and how many hours they can work a week. So your university, the International Student Support Team, can help you with that. If you're a parent, naturally every university has campus-based quality childcare and kindergarten programs for children. between the age of 6 weeks and 5 years, and that'll give you great support if you're studying and raising a family at the same time, and hats off to you if you are. And we've already talked about student groups, and we've chatted a little bit about sports and exercise. So we want to wrap it up here. We just want to briefly go through some featured events. Here's a typical orientation week schedule for one of the universities here in Melbourne. Again, I'm not going to name it because I don't want you thinking that your university should be exactly like this, but it's all suggestive. We've just researched and curated this information, and we just want to give you an idea of what's around, because no doubt you're you could be feeling a bit overwhelmed by now if you're here in Australia and about to start, or about to arrive, or you're still finding your feet. So graduate welcome. There's a welcome day at one of their campuses. They've organised an orientation challenge. Sign up and meet and be a team of 4 people at a student mixer to complete fun daily challenges together and explore the campus by completing interactive tasks. There's a clubs day carnival in terms of sport. There's going to be representatives at this particular activity from 40 plus sport and recreation clubs affiliated with the university. That'll be a day of free giveaways and demos and other fun activities. There'll be a student services expo, which is about how to get involved on campus throughout your degree. Who knows, you might become one of these volunteers giving tips to new students next year. You never know. There's academic skills workshops, naturally library sessions, getting set up and connected with library resources, and that's so you can make the most of the library collection, meet your librarians, and the research tools in libraries. They're changing and evolving and all the time, and as we've all seen a lot of news lately about artificial intelligence and chat bots. And we'll finish up with the best one of all, in my opinion. This particular university is running a festival called Summerfest, the hottest O-Week block party, and that's 4 massive days, 3 massive house parties. My goodness, there'll be boardwalk laneways filled with all sorts of food, freebies. There's going to be some picnic vibes and some banging tunes, which is what we all love to hear. So that about wraps it up. We're just going to take another short break before we finish up, and then we'll come back and just let you know what's coming up on this International Student Life. Don't go away. We'll be right back. G'day and welcome to this International Student Life. We tell stories, and our story is international student education in Melbourne, Australia. It's orientation week, or just about to start, or in the case of Victoria University, they are up and running right now, or is it tomorrow? I'm going to check my diary. So we just want to wrap it up. We really hope that you've found this helpful to you or pertinent. But if not, why not leave a comment below and let us know what you'd like to know about. Were you happy with the information? Did we miss out on something? Did it help you or give you some hints or prompts towards something you need to think about preparing for? Let us know, because as we said before, in the last month, we've had over nearly 3,000 people in our audience checking out our content, and about 300 have come back. But only 2% of the 3,000 are subscribers, so we need to do something about that. The best way to help this platform is to subscribe, and that'll help us grow. We've had a lot of growth in the last 6 to 7 months, and we want to make sure that growth keeps going, and we want to make sure that we can keep serving our audience. We want to be a conduit for the conversation around international student education in Melbourne, Australia, because it's not just about us banging on about information to please ourselves. We want to have a conversation with you about what it is that you want from your student education journey here in Melbourne, and also what you want from us and how we can help you. And I want to say thank you again to our subscriber who generated this whole conversation. The whole reason we got this going was the question that came from him about 5 or 6 days ago. Is it important to attend orientation week in Melbourne, Australia as an international student? So thanks for that feedback, and I can promise you that feedback like that really helps us because it's unique and gives us a chance to address what our audience is thinking about directly rather than trying to guess. So that's a huge help. So thank you once again. So that about wraps it up from here. Again, Wise Words Media is the producer of this International Student Life. We can't accept responsibility for any errors or omissions of information. We are an honest broker of information. We research the international student education space. We curate the information. We synthesize it to present it to you, our audience around the world. If you're joining us via the internet or any of the 1.4 billion smart TVs around the world where this content is distributed to, or maybe you're checking us out on your smartphone or your iPad. I don't know what you're doing, but the main thing is I know you're joining us for the conversation, and we really appreciate it. So that about wraps it up for now. We've got one more episode coming. We'll have a very short summary for every single university by name, and we'll be outlining what their position is on attending orientation weeks, whether it's compulsory, mandatory or suggested, because we think that's going to be pretty valuable information for the audience. So they'll be very short, bite-sized piece episodes. They won't be live streams. And they'll be anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes long. So that's what you've got to look forward to. So that wraps it up for this particular topic. And all the information for every university's orientation week dates are already published, and there for you to review. And we'll have a summary episode as well. And for now, we'll be taking the next couple of weeks just to look into settling into Melbourne. So watch out for that in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Settling into Melbourne, we've got a lot of tips there for you in a series there, and that'll help, no doubt. So that about does it for today. You've been listening to this International Student Life produced by Wise Words Media. We're based in Melbourne, Australia, and since 1979 we've been assisting immigrants and migrants settle into life in Melbourne. Wise Words Media has a lot of experience in the international student education space, and it's our pleasure to welcome you to Melbourne for Orientation Week. Good luck with your studies. And we know that you've made a fantastic decision to choose Melbourne as your destination, and we know you're going to love life here. There is so much to do and so much to see, and hopefully you will get to experience that as well, because you've got to live your life. Don't just live in the classroom, and get out about, have a look around, experience all that Melbourne has to offer. There's a lot here to enjoy. Okay, so that about wraps it up for now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll chat to you soon.